If you believe your band's only path to real money is just booking more gigs and praying that the phone keeps ringing, then you're missing out on a massive opportunity. I used to think the same until I started diving deep into how truly successful service-based bands operate. Through my unique position here as the founder of Back on Stage and with countless conversations with top band leaders for our Bandleaders Summit, I've discovered they're not just playing gigs, they're masterfully diversifying their revenue. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on this brutally honest advice and the exact alternative strategies to build multiple income streams, ensuring your band becomes a real job with genuine financial stability, not just a fleeting passion. So what's this game-changing insight that flips the script on the gig-only mentality? Well, it's this. Your band already has far more income potential than you realize, and it's not all about sweating it out on stage every night. The secret is to think beyond the performance fee and leverage the assets and expertise that you already possess. For years, like many of you, I focused almost exclusively on booking gigs. My entire schedule, my entire livelihood revolved around the next wedding, the next corporate event, the next club gig. But after 10 years of grinding away, my band still wasn't turning a profit, and I realized I needed a plan B and C and even D. That's when I started looking at my band and my music and my experience as a multifaceted business, not just a performing entity. So this shift allowed me and my co-band leader to unlock new revenue streams that provided stability and growth even when gigs were scarce. So we're talking about turning your existing services, your network, and your creative potential into consistent cash flow. And this is how you take your band from just a side hustle to a real job. Now, I know what you may be thinking, this sounds great, but where do I even start? And that's why I've put together the comprehensive guide, Diversified Income Ideas for Musicians. This isn't just a list, it's a breakdown of actionable strategies that you can implement in your band today to start generating additional revenue. It includes real-world examples, practical steps that I and other band leaders have used. So to grab your free copy right now and get a head start on diversifying your band's income, just click on the link in the description below. Seriously, download it. It's packed with value. It'll kickstart your journey to financial freedom for you and your band. So go on, click it, check it out. All right, so let's get brutally honest about the problem. Most bands, and I used to be one of them, operate on what I call the gig treadmill. You land a gig, you play it, and you get paid, and then you immediately start scrambling for the next one. And it's exhausting, right? And it leaves you vulnerable. What happens if the wedding market dips? Or what happens if a key band member gets sick? Or what if you get injured? Your entire income stream dries up and you become a victim of circumstances, constantly reacting instead of building something stable. We pour our hearts and souls into our music, perfecting our craft, spending thousands on gear, countless hours rehearsing, traveling, setting up, tearing down, all for one performance fee. And don't get me wrong, performance is incredible and should always be the core part of what we do. But if it's your only revenue stream, you're not really running a business. You're just sort of trading time for money like any hourly job, but with way less stability. So that's why so many talented musicians get stuck in this starving artist stereotype, or they have to juggle multiple unrelated side hustles just to make ends meet. They never get to truly treat their band as a real job because it doesn't provide real job security or consistent income. So how do we break free from the gig treadmill and make your band a real legitimate job with consistent paycheck? The solution, I think, really is in diversification. Think about a successful company, right? They don't just sell one product. They have multiple lines of revenue. And your band can and should do the same, especially in the music as a service model. Now, in my capacity as the CEO of Back on Stage, I've had the privilege of chatting with literally hundreds of band leaders, and more recently through my Bandleaders Summit interviews, I've directly picked the brains of some of the most successful folks in our industry. Many of them have shared some incredibly creative and powerful ideas for diversifying revenue streams, all within the context of a service-based band. So let's dive into some of the most impactful strategies now, and let's get started with expanding your service offerings by becoming a full-service entertainment hub. And this is huge. Many band leaders started as a single-service band, but as they booked more gigs, clients began asking, can you book a soloist for the ceremony or a jazz trio for the cocktails? And if you're connected with other musicians, just call them up and ask them if you can book them to provide that service. You're essentially becoming a mini agency here. So the next one here that also kind of ties into the first one is offering smaller musical configurations. So offering things like solos, duos, trios, or even string ensembles, right? This allows you to serve a wider range of events and budget, capturing more market share. So imagine, you're booking just a 6-piece band, for example, for a reception, but also providing a string quartet for the ceremony and maybe a jazz trio for a cocktail hour, sort of all under that same umbrella. Next thing here is doing a DJ hybrid performance. So these have become quite popular recently. I've heard a lot of people talking about these. So you're kind of combining the energy of live musicians with the versatility of a DJ. And this is a massive hit for certain events and opens up a new client segment for you as well. It's also a lot more of a budget-friendly option. If you're like me and you have a 9-piece band, that there isn't always the budget for that. So something like this DJ hybrid can be a nice sort of middle ground. You can pair a lot of things with a DJ. I've seen people do drums with DJ. I've seen people do sax with DJ. I've seen people do guitar with DJ. There really is a big plethora of stuff you can throw in there. So get creative with that. So the next one here is sound and lighting services. If you own good quality PA systems or lighting rigs already, why not offer them as a standalone service for smaller events or even other bands? I mean, you're already set up with the gear and the expertise. For me, in my case, for example, I've done really well with offering my band's PA and my personal tech skills to other bands when they're out doing their gigs. I mean, if my band's not gigging today, why not take that rig and use it at another gig? Better there than collecting dust in my storage locker, right? The next option on here is photo booth services. So this might seem unrelated, but clients actually love the convenience of bundling services. Now, if you're already providing the music, adding a photo booth package is kind of a natural upsell that delivers significant extra revenue with minimal additional effort for you. And I've seen this personally bring in thousands of extra dollars per year. I mean, my business made the decision to start adding photo booths alongside our band services back when the pandemic started. And it's done really, really well for us. So we're up to, I think, 5 or 6 photo booths now in our arsenal that we offer alongside our band. So that can be really great for you. Bear in mind, they do take a little bit of work. They take some maintenance and whatnot, but they're pretty sound investment. So let's move on to our second category of diversified revenue streams, and this is to create specialized shows and unique performance experiences. So think about not just being a band here, but be the band for something specific. For example, maybe you develop a killer tribute show for a specific artist or era, like Best of the 80s or a Queen tribute. So these can often command much higher fees and allow you to target specific venues and corporate clients looking for unique entertainment. Be aware, though, it is a bit of a niche market, so might not be booked as frequently. But again, if this is just an additional revenue stream on top of your band, it could be something really lucrative. Now, the next one on here is booking theater shows. Once you build enough local draw and a local following, you can think about booking some larger theater gigs. These typically involve ticket sales, which dramatically increase your earning potential per show beyond a flat fee. But of course, you kind of have to promote the whole thing yourself. It can be quite a big lift. But if you do know some local promoters that you work well with, or you can find one that seems good, this can actually be really lucrative for everybody if it's something that you can actually promote well enough to fill the house. The next option on here is cruise ship performances. So many bands secure lucrative contracts as guest entertainments on cruise lines, and it's a completely different market, often with great pay and some travel opportunities and a built-in audience. But usually to get started in the cruise world, you have to do, I think it's a 3 or 6 month contract just to kind of get yourself into the system. And then from there, you can kind of start working your contacts beyond that and doing some shorter length contracts. But I do know some band leaders, one specifically in Australia that does a Michael Bublé tribute. He's a great singer. So what he does is he prepares all the sheet music in advance, and he takes that onto the boat and he joins the house band that's already on the boat, provides all the sheet music. He does his tribute show for a few nights. I think it's a week or 2 weeks, and then he leaves. So he's in and out off the boat in just a couple of weeks, and he does quite well for these few shows that he does while he's on board. And the last thing here in category 3 is to target senior living communities. Maybe not the first place you think of as a big party place, but this is an often overlooked market that offers consistent, often daytime bookings. And although these gigs might not pay a ton individually, they can still add up to some good, reliable weekly or monthly income. So it doesn't hurt to pepper that in. And who knows, because these shows can be shorter, maybe you do a lunchtime at one senior home and you do an afternoon at another one, and then you do dinner somewhere else and a late night show somewhere else. So you pack 3 or 4 gigs into one day and kind of make it more worth your while that way. And moving on to our third category here, leveraging your knowledge through teaching. Now, you're a smart musician. I'm sure you've already kind of thought of this, but you're a skilled musician. Don't underestimate the value of that, right? You can do, of course, private music lessons here, offering lessons in person or online. And of course, you can scale that by teaching a group if you're into teaching group classes or even doing online workshops, right? So online courses or instructional content, kind of like what I'm doing right now here on YouTube. You can package your expertise into digital products. If you're an amazing vocalist, for example, create a course on vocal warm-ups for gigs. If you're a bass player, maybe you do some unique grooves, create a module for funk bass fundamentals, right? You'd be surprised, like you don't have to be an expert at this stuff to get people to watch your stuff. You just have to be better than the average Joe, right? And if there's somebody out there that just wants to figure out a bass line, they don't necessarily need to go watch the best bass player in the world do that bass line. They, as long as somebody is a little better than them, can show them how to do it, they're into it. So don't underestimate yourself as a influencer type, for lack of a better word. But this is passive income that continues to sell long after creation. So it can be really helpful for that. And if your whole band is into doing this kind of stuff, like, wow, you could bring a lot of revenue into your band if you wanted to. All right. And number 4 is to dive into booking and management and leverage your network, right? You're already booking your own band, so why not expand that skill set, right? Maybe you start a booking agency. Once you've mastered booking your own gigs, you can kind of represent other talented artists and take a percentage of their bookings too. That's really all an agent is, right? And this is a direct path to scaling your real job beyond just your own performance schedule. And although maybe you've never thought about being an agent before, it does kind of follow a bit of a natural progression from being a band leader. And here's why. Like in my personal experience with booking my band, we had a corporate client a few years ago who was booking us for their Christmas parties every year. And after about 3 or 4 years of booking us, suddenly they just stopped. And I realized that it wasn't that they didn't like us anymore, but they just wanted to mix it up. They just got tired of having us there every year. And they were like, all right, it's time we try a new band this year, right? So the result was I lost that client, which kind of sucks. Whereas if I could have turned around and said, hey, you don't want to book my band anymore, that's fine. But actually, I also handle bookings for this other band that's also really great and does something quite different from us. Maybe you want to try them. Maybe I wouldn't have had to lose that client. Maybe I could have kept that client. And who knows, maybe 5 years from now, the pendulum swings back and they want to come back to us again, right? Now I've still got that client. So expanding your personal services to be more or less an agent can actually be kind of cool. And like I said, since you're already building all of these skills anyway, it kind of follows a bit of a natural progression. So in that same vein, next option here is managing other bands, right? Like I said, offer your experience in band management, marketing, logistics, team coordination, right? To other groups who need guidance. Maybe you're in some other bands. Maybe you're just a fan of what they're doing, but from the outside looking in, you're like, maybe this is disorganized. It's a little chaotic. This band leader doesn't really know what they're doing. Maybe you can step in and provide some support in that case, right? Maybe they want another team member. Maybe you can be that. Maybe you can, of course, take a higher fee when you do those gigs or when you book those gigs because of your new admin and management role there. Next option here is create some showcase events. All right. So organize events where your band and perhaps others you represent can perform for potential clients like wedding planners, corporate events, managers, that sort of thing. And this positions you as an industry leader, right? So the way I look at the entertainment market, I kind of see it in 2 different camps. I have what I call the music as a service camp and the music as a product camp. So the product-based music is people like Beyonce and Bruno Mars and all these artists who are creating their product. They sell it as an album or as merchandise or as ticket sales. And the name of their game is create as many fans as possible to have them following you and purchasing your stuff all the time. This is very different from a service-based band or a cover band, for lack of a better word, where the name of that game is really just to get clients, get them to book you for gigs. You're going to play music that's already well known. You're going to show up. You're going to do your thing. They're going to pay you. You go home. There's no setting up a merch stand. There's no selling tickets. There's none of this. You're just doing this contractual relationship with the client. So to grow as a band in the service market, you really need connections with other service providers, like what I said, like the event planners and the wedding planners and venues and caterers and whatever, because those are the people you're going to be working with in this side of the market. So it's very important to have those relationships. And in that vein, strategic partnerships and referrals is the next option here. And this is about working smarter, not harder to get gigs, right? Partner with other vendors. Like I said, build those strong relationships with makeup artists, photographers, videographers, caterers, florists. Referrals from trusted vendors are gold in the event industry. And if you're really doing this service-based work, that is what you absolutely need. And next is to collaborate with actual venues, right? Work to become a house band for specific venues or get on their preferred vendor list. This can lead to some consistent direct bookings. In my own journey, my band actually became the house band at a local bar that we'd been playing at. In our first year of growth, we were playing there about once a month. And then at the end of that year, I pitched those venue managers on having us there as their regular Thursday night band. They'd never done anything like that before, but they were willing to give it a try and give us a shot. So they actually got us there every Thursday night. We worked out some deals for some cheap covers and cheap wings and beers, and the band performed for the door. But we got that started and launched, and it ended up turning into a 7-year relationship. We were there every week for 7 years. It allowed us to really cut our teeth. It allowed us to make some revenue, really get our name out there. So don't underestimate the potential of, working with an actual venue and getting onto their regular roster of entertainment. Next, network with event planners. Event planners are gatekeepers to this massive number of corporate and private events. So building rapport with them can really help fill your calendar year round if they're pitching you for the events that they're doing. Now, the last thing is to actually build relationships with other bands. Now, a lot of time when I talk to bands about other bands, they're all kind of worried that other bands are stealing their gigs, right? We're all kind of out there with this scarcity mindset of, if I let all these other people know who my clients are, they're just going to steal all my gigs. And actually, at the end of the day, I like to think of other bands more as my allies, because when I'm booked, I can actually refer my overflow gigs to them, which does a number of things. One, it pleases my client because I'm referring them to a band that I know is good and that's going to do a good job for them, so they like that. And then, of course, the band is happy with that because who doesn't like getting gigs, right? Obviously, if something good like that happens, hopefully the band's going to return the favor. They're going to come back to me one day when they've got an overflow gig and pitch my band to their client and yada, yada. So I'm always out there operating in the world with this mentality of pay it forward, put the good karma out there and it'll come back to you. So hopefully you want to run your band the same way. So the last thing I want to talk about is media and content creation. So beyond just playing gigs, right? Now, this isn't something I talk a lot about, this sort of original music thing on this channel, but if you do produce original music, why not put it out there and sell it as well, right? Even if you're focused on your service-based business, doing events and weddings, you can still be producing original tracks. And if you've got songwriting skills, why not use them, right? Maybe you're doing commercial jingles or production music, right? This stuff can be used by businesses in their videos and ads, for example, right? Then, of course, music licensing opportunities can come from that as well. So maybe exploring licensing your original music for film, TV, or YouTube creators, right? That can be a big one, although I don't know how much AI is going to be demolishing that market in the future. But if you've got it, you can try putting it out there. And this is often passive income as well. So it'll keep generating for you in the background, which is always great. Now, you might have heard of some of these ideas before, but how do you put them all together, especially when you're busy doing gigs, right? It's not just about adding random income streams. It's about building a cohesive ecosystem, a band business hub, if you will, that supports your main performance services. Imagine it like this. Your core live gigs are still crucial. I mean, they're your primary brand building and client attracting mechanism, but from those gigs, you can then cross-sell and upsell and funnel clients and opportunities into your other diversified services. So from booking a wedding, you might end up providing the string quartet and the DJ hybrid and even a photo booth. And from playing for a corporate client, you might get asked to provide sound at their next event or even consult on their entertainment strategy. In my personal life, I love sharing this story. I was asked to do sound by one of the agents who used to book my 9-piece band for this little summer festival one year. And at that summer festival, I met the organizer of that event who really loved my services and the kind of person I am when I'm on site. So she asked me to do another one of her events and then another. And before I knew it, she's now my top corporate client. She books me 5 or 6 times a year for really big events where all I have to do is show up and set up my PA and a bunch of microphones. And I actually make a lot more money there than I do on any of my band gigs. So I love doing these tech gigs for her. And it's all because of this one agent that I used to have my 9-piece band playing for. Even though this agent hasn't called me in years to work, this new corporate client I acquired is really padding my pocket. So you never know what can happen in these situations, but if you've got these diversified revenue streams open and you're in the right place at the right time and you're killing it, opportunities happen. So each stream can support and reinforce the others, creating a robust financial structure that makes your band feel much less like a hustle and more like a thriving multifaceted enterprise, or a true real job, if you will. Now, this isn't just theory. These are strategies that I and other countless successful band leaders are using right now to build true financial stability and resilience in their music businesses. And the best part is, you don't have to figure it all out alone. Remember that diversified income ideas for musicians guide I mentioned earlier? Well, it breaks down everything that we've talked about and more with actionable steps. Go grab it. The link is in the description below this video. Seriously, pause the video if you need to. Go download it now. It is your immediate next step. And for those of you who are ready to stop chasing gigs and start managing all of these new income streams like a true business, Back on Stage app is built exactly for this. From managing all of your booking details for different configurations to tracking your diverse finances, seamlessly communicating with your expanded team and clients across all services, Back on Stage helps you automate the heavy lifting so you can focus on building those multiple income streams. Now, diversifying your income is, I think, the smartest move you can make to future-proof your band and finally make it a real job. It's about building stability and leveraging your existing talents and network and creating predictable revenue that truly supports your passion. Now, I hope you're as excited as I am for you to start implementing these ideas and see the results for yourself. I think it's going to be amazing. Now, once you've started thinking about your multiple income streams and you're ready to start putting them into action, you'll need a rock-solid foundation to manage all of that new business. That's why your very next step should be to go watch this video right here. In it, I break down how my automated bandleader blueprint can help you automate your gig booking and client management, making it easy to handle all the new opportunities that come from diversifying your income. It really is the perfect complement to everything we've just discussed here today. So go watch that video and let's keep building your band into the thriving business it deserves to be.